Hello, and welcome to Sauce Lab's Testing Tactics Training. Our goal is to ensure teams are getting the most success, adoption, and ultimately value out of your partnership with Sauce Labs as possible. In this video, we're going to review some best practices for managing concurrency effectively to ensure smooth test execution. So, what is concurrency? Concurrency represents the number of tests you can initiate simultaneously. Your organization-wide concurrency capacity is based on the purchase amount in your order form. Once all subscribed concurrency slots are in use, any additional tests run by multiple teams will utilize flex concurrency, giving you the ability to burst above your subscribed concurrency amount. Flex concurrency gives you the ability to run tests above subscribed levels at the org level without limits for when you need to test more, which reduces error rates and speeds up execution times. Concurrency is managed at the org level and can be distributed among individual teams as needed by an org admin. Next, let's review best practices for concurrency management and how to leverage the Team Concurrency Management Panel. As an org admin, you can manage your organization's concurrency subscription per team by going to the Team Management Panel in your user interface. So if you purchase 100 concurrency, you can allocate that amongst your teams evenly or allocate based on which teams are testing more and need access to additional concurrency. When setting a concurrency limit for a team, be mindful that team members share the concurrency limit of the team. We recommend that you allocate additional concurrency, more than what your subscribed amount is, to allow your teams to flex and get access to additional testing capacity when they really need it. If a team exceeds its concurrency limit, any additional tests will error out. As a best practice, we always recommend increasing team concurrency limits as needed to prevent test errors and ensure smooth execution. Next, let's talk about some of the reasons why we see customers' concurrency lower than they're expecting it to be. One of the reasons is that concurrency may be in use by other accounts. Other accounts in your organization or in your team may be using concurrency slots at the same time as you. Sauce Labs does not start a test session until it has been requested, and many require the user to configure the desired number of parallel tests. You can check to see how many sessions are in progress by viewing your usage at the bottom left of your user interface. Let's look at an example. This organization has a total of 100 concurrent VMs. Team A and Team B both have an allocation of 50 VMs. Let's say Team A uses 70 at once, even though they've been allocated 50 VMs. This means Team B will only be able to use 30 of their 50 VMs. So once again, the total amount of VMs that you're allocating to each team needs to equate to the total amount that your organization has. Another big reason that concurrency is lower than expected could be because your test runner has not requested your full concurrency. The Selenium Appium test lifecycle is controlled entirely by your test runner, so it's really important that you're specifying the number of threads and tests that you want to run in parallel in your test configurator. If you're not seeing the correct number of tests run, check that your test runner is set up to run in parallel and that it's configured to use your full concurrency. Let's take a closer look. In this example, we are using the Maven Surefire plugin to execute tests in parallel. We have also set the thread count configuration property to 25, which means that Surefire will run up to 25 threads simultaneously. This allows us to take advantage of multiple CPUs and reduce the overall testing time. Note that this is just an example configuration, and you may need to adjust the configuration based on your specific requirements and environment. If you would like a configuration or code snippet example based on your own framework and language, please reach out to your CSM. Once your tests have several spec files, you should start running your tests concurrently. To do so, Set the max instances property in your config file to the number of available sauce sessions, and it will run everything in parallel. Here we see an example with WebDriver.io. WebDriver.io is a library that allows you to run your tests with maximum concurrency, meaning that no matter how many files and tests you have, they can all run in parallel. Of course, subject to certain limits like your computer's CPU and concurrency restrictions. Let's say you have 3 different capabilities: Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. If you set max instances to 1, the WebDriver.io test runner will spawn 3 processes. How amazing is that? Therefore, if you have 10 spec files and you have set max instances to 10, all the spec files will be tested simultaneously and 30 processes will be spawned. Once again, you can define the max instance property globally to attribute for all browsers, just to ensure scalable and effective parallelization. Thanks for watching.